Plasma burns the parts out, I burn them in, my shirt burns off, water doesn't burn, and this is sparkly. Hey guys, welcome back to the Golden Door Garage. So last time we left off, we had a few more cars in the shop. The Roush Mustang was still hanging out. We now have this beautiful SS Hearst Edition Camaro, and the turbo coffin's still up here. So this is in for an oil pressure issue. We're going to dive into that a little later and hopefully get it taken care of and possibly avoid having to do a whole engine or anything crazy like that. Customer was good and got it shut off immediately when they saw an issue. The Mustang, though, I told you guys that something had gone wrong, and unfortunately where are we going to pull this engine? After it had sat for a little while, we found water in one of the cylinders. The head appears to have a crack in it, and it's allowing water to seep from the water jackets and coolant passages in the head back into the intake runners on cylinder 1. They were ported, and I'm thinking they may have gone a little bit too far when they were cutting them down. And as far as the turbo coffin, well, I guess I got to finish out this engine bay finally. So I may have started off going a little overboard on trying to shave the engine bay of the Corolla. It's not a show car, but, well, I'm kind of committed now. In the engine bay, though, I have some holes. So I've cut out the majority of the really Swiss cheese material, and now I just got to patch those. But lucky for us, we have the STV CNC plasma sitting over there, so I can just measure up those couple of holes and then go program in patch panels and cut them out. All right, nothing too complicated here, just a little rectangle and a circle. Got them programmed in to the STV CNC, and let's cut them out real quick. Just like that, patch panels are done. Okay, so I think that's going to conclude the majority of the welding. I've built up the shock towers like I wanted to. I've tried to fix some of that, got the firewall reattached, fixed where the car had been cut in half. Patch panels are now in, filled. Now I just got to get it to grinding and make this thing smooth, since I decided I wanted that for some reason. So after the little grinding incident, I stopped filming for the majority of the rest of that day. We were going to have an event, a local church that my dad participates in, that was coming in, having a men's group here. So we needed the shop all cleaned up and looking good. But I wanted to make sure that the Corolla looked on point for being on display. So I got a little carried away after I finished grinding, quickly shot some white paint onto it, and then proceeded to assemble it. And this is the result. I mean, it's pretty awesome. No, the engine bay is not by any means perfect at this point, but that is cool. No, we've already talked that the turbo is probably not going to live there, and the headers aren't going to go that direction even, but, well, it was for display, and it looks impressive, right? So that's kind of where we left off. Also, I did cut a plate to put in the trunk. Got a little more work to do on that, but that is where my fuel cell will live, and probably where the nitrous will live as well. So now it just needs a rear end and a harness and a computer, seat, lots of plumbing, water pump, the rest of the exhaust. God, there's a long list of things left to do, but that just looks cool. What do you guys think? So, as you can tell, I've got the steering wheel out. I'm going to work on my transmission tunnel today. The first step to building this trans tunnel is going to be getting a good surface that I can actually weld or mount something to, and that's going to be difficult with all the sound deadening in here. So, wish me luck. We're going to grab the heat gun and see if we can get some of this sound deadening to come loose. We got some off on that side when we had a little fire and cut this all out, but we're going to see what we can do. Wish us luck. That was a lot of work, definitely more than I originally bargained for, but all of the insulation is stripped out on both sides in the front here. I guess there's technically some that sits up on the firewall there. I'm not taking it off. It's fine. Floors are not as good as I had imagined. Oh well. But that whole bucket is sound deadening, and it definitely has some weight to it, so I guess that's more weight savings. I'm just kind of concerned that maybe some of that stuff was kind of structural based on how the floors feel. Oh well, it'll be fine. And look, now with that out of the way and everything, this car's gonna be so much faster. Now look how far down the gas pedal goes. It goes clear down below the level of the floor. That's going to be the secret to our success. So the red Camaro came in, and there was a concern that it had lost oil pressure, and we were wanting to see how things were. Got the pan out of it, got it dropped, and cut the oil filter open. After finding a little bit of stuff in the bottom of the pan, not good results. This is inside the oil filter material, and as you can see, there's a pretty good amount of large chunks of metal, and that is definitely not what you were wanting to find when you cut one open. So I'm going to discuss that with the customer, look at some options, and go from there. Fortunately, when it lost oil pressure, we did find some metal shavings and damage in the bottom end. So the first thing we got to do this week is pull that engine out. Getting close to being able to drop the engine out. This one's going to come out the bottom, engine, transmission, subframe, and everything. I'm going to come outside and play with the most recently dropped off toy, 2005 3500 Chevy diesel. Some electrical gremlins, and we're going to see if we can find them. Oh, I told you we were going to pull the motor out of the Camaro. It's out. Camaro's sitting over there. We're going to strip this down a little bit to the bare long block, and then it can go off to the machine shop. We'll take the subframe and front suspension. That can all go back in the car, so the car will be mobile, and we can push it around the shop while it's out for a few weeks getting the machine shop work done to the engine itself. Engine is all dismantled, separated from the subframe, and ready to go to the machine shop. As you can see, we did leave the flywheel on there. That's going to get resurfaced. You can see all the hot spots. So this thing should go all back together and be nice and fresh and ready to go for many miles. Okay, engine is at the machine shop. Transmission and all the parts for the engine are sitting here on the cart. And subframe and suspension is back in the Camaro. So it's mobile while we've got it here in the shop with us. So you guys know we got the one diesel in, the big 3500 dually, but we also got a 2500 diesel in as well. Both of them are 2005s, and we got some work to do on them. The blue one here is getting some electrical work. White one is also going to be getting electrical work, but the blue one, they did a fantastic job on their radio install at some point. And I'm pretty sure that this is where at least some, if not hopefully all, of our electrical concerns are coming from. Having issues with gauges, power windows, batteries running dead, that kind of stuff. Beautiful way of tying wires in, you know, just strip one little section back, roll it around. Lots of different colors of electrical tape, different types of connectors, telling me that there's been a variety of people in here. Even found some broken wires and that kind of stuff. So hopefully I can get this all cleaned up and solve some of this mess. All right, guys, so these three wires were all hooked together. They shouldn't have been. I'm going to go ahead and terminate them the correct way, or at least the way I like to do this, which is where I've got these three. I then take a small piece of electrical tape. I like to cut it into a little L like that. You can take that, then you can put it on the end of the wire, fold the wire over so the tape grabs back onto itself, and now you've captured the actual end of it. Then you take what's left of the tape, it all lines up nice, and you can roll that around the actual wire itself so that you've built a nice little capsule on each individual wire. And the end of it is covered, so you're not going to get corrosion and stuff like that in there, and it can't make contact with something accidentally. All of this will then eventually be wrapped in loom tape and tied together so that it all disappears and is nice and tidy back here, protected from rubbing on anything inside the dash. Alright, sitting here working on this truck some more. I gotta say, one of my other major pet peeves is when people do that. Don't strip back a wire and just twist the end of another one around it. That is not a proper connection. That's going to end up coming loose. It's going to get corrosion in there. You're going to get high resistance in all of the lines, and it's just wrong. Finishing up the radio harness repair and install on this Chevy 3500 dually. You can see you've got everything loomed up nice. Everything that needed capped off is taken care of. The splices have been done correctly. And now I can try and neatly tuck this all back into the dash and get this thing put together so it's ready to go for the customer. So guys, radio install has been completed. Harness looks great behind there. Everything is tidied up the way it should be. And this truck is now ready to go home. Not saying that we haven't enjoyed it, but it's time for it to leave. Okay guys, so here's something a little different. Normally you see what I'm working on, but here's what some of the other guys in the shop have been doing. This set of wheels, Alan's powder coating, belonged to Ben's personal Toyota Tacoma that he's trying to turn into an Overlander. He's got the camper shell, he's got a few other mods, and it's coming together nicely. So it was time for tires, and he needed the wheels refinished. And look at this beautiful prismatic tuxedo black. Tons of flake, absolutely beautiful. Quality Motors in Kannapolis, North Carolina got these awesome Toyo AT3s mounted up for us. Thanks guys. Okay guys, so we just got back to the shop. Here are these beautiful powder coated rims of Ben's. They're gonna go on this Overlander build he's been working on. He's got the camper shell, he's got it set up inside where he got a platform, and now we've got the appropriate Nitto AT3s so he can go off-road and enjoy his awesome new setup for the Tacoma. The Overlander is complete and ready to go. The Overlander in its natural environment. So as you can tell, we have certainly been busy. Now, I want to say great job to Ben on his truck. It is definitely coming together nicely. It looks great. I can't wait to see how it continues to progress. On the Camaro, the engine should be back next time and going in, so hopefully we'll have that back on the road. Once it's done, the Mustang motor is coming out. The blue diesel finished up and left. The white diesel still has some electrical work to be done. And of course the turbo coffin, there's lots to do on it. But the goal is we're going to try and have that thing to where we can start it up before the end of the year. Like, follow, and subscribe, and thank you guys for all your support here at the Golden Door Garage.